Right, we've moved back to Sambo. This is now Sports Sambo, where we're operating based on the rules of the International Sambo Association. Oh, an amazing throw by the athlete in blue. And he's maintaining top position and trying to win by pin. The athlete in red has 30 seconds to exit this position, or the match will go to the athlete in blue. The athlete in red is trying to use every trick he can to ensure that he's maintaining, exceptional fight, won by pin.
And now your new men's 52 kilo sports sambo champion.
So what we have is an exceptional fight from Karen Charles, an amazing Ippon Sionagi, followed by a strong pin. So we had a really, really good match by Karen Charles, Trinidad and Tobago over. Obviously has done exceptional things, and what we're gonna have now is some strong jogotai. The athlete from Venezuela is just thrown with Ippon Sionagi. Katrina Ford from Barbados, the referee stopped the fight. They're now standing up. The athlete in blue has scored points, and this match is developing nicely. Right, so obviously, a second Ippon Sionagi, and she's trying to follow up with a pin. The athlete from Barbados circling, obviously she's trying to turn the athlete from Venezuela over. The match is going really well. We're seeing good technique, smooth sambo, and the athlete from Barbados definitely seems overpowered. Again, we have grips. She's gone for the Ippon Sionagi a third time. So Hendrima Rodriguez is dominating this fight with her key technique, which seems to be the Ippon Sionagi. Katrina Ford from Barbados is struggling to match the skill level of the Venezuelan. And the Venezuelan has followed up with a Kojigari, an inside leg trip. What I like is that the athlete from Barbados is continuing to try to seek top position and turn Hendrima over to seek a pin. I think she recognizes that the throwing technique of the Venezuelan is superior. The Venezuelan has just scored again, shooting in for a double leg. And now they're trying to transition for groundwork. But in Sambo, once they cross 10 seconds on the ground, the referee will stand them up. So right now the leaderboard definitely is in the favor of the Venezuelan. She's setting up her favorite throw, but this time she's been blocked. Let's see if the athlete from Barbados can enter back position, and time ran out. Now we have the athlete from Venezuela, clear leader and winner of this fight. In women's 56, we've seen a very dominant display of technique. Right. Again, they re-engage, grip fighting. We see the setup. She has attempted a sweep. The athlete from Barbados is blocking her favorite throw, and she's dodged an amazing ashigarami or sweep from the Venezuelan athlete. They're back up standing.
The Venezuelan athlete is definitely compensating for the size difference with superior skill, which is exactly why the young lady from Barbados is definitely using the size difference to try to neutralize that technical gap that's between them.
I mean, as the match goes on, what we're going to see is that the athlete from Barbados, because of her size and the definite speed advantage of the Venezuelan, is going to start to tire. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited to see what will happen in terms of a total victory throw.
Right. But given the particular differences, the match is definitely going down the middle. That can go either way for each of the young ladies at any time. But due time will tell exactly who will come away with this victory.
The athlete from Barbados, what I like is even when she's thrown, continues to work. I think she recognizes that her size advantage would pay off if she can get the Venezuelan to some form of pin or trap or submission. Right. So they're both working very clear strategy. And I think that the athlete from Venezuela does have the overall advantage.
And I agree with that assessment, Rondell, which is why I believe that she's like kind of waiting for those offensive pushes, so she can just counter and just throw her weight on her. That way, she can try to seek out the offensive dominant position.
Well, we have our winner, Hendrima Rodriguez from Venezuela. She's going to move forward in women's 56. A really nice match. We saw some good technique.
Very well earned victory by the Venezuelan.
Blue. Both of the athletes are circling. The athlete from Venezuela again winning the grip fighting, and he tried to enter for a kata de guruma, shoulder throw. Adele responded with a tomanagi, which is a under sit through throw to try and throw Mr. Cantillo over his head. They've entered grips. Oh, and a beautiful tomanagi. And now they're circling. They're indicating groundwork is available. I'm seeing a pickup. The referee stopped the fight. They're going to reset the athletes. But Luis and Adele are giving us an exciting match. They've re-entered the grip fighting phase. Luis is sitting back and using the forward pressure from Adele to his advantage. Luis went for a fireman's carry or over the shoulder throw or kataguruma. But it was neutralized beautifully by a sprawling Adele Villalba.
Very interesting, the technical capacity of this Venezuelan of the Venezuelan selection. They're really showcasing and demonstrating exactly what Venezuelan Sambo is all about and how exactly they're doing it over there. They're coming with very well thought out and well planned out strategic game plans and really showcasing their dominance and their skill in this tournament tonight.
Well, Venezuela is the regional powerhouse. They have one of the longest standing Sambo programs. And what I love about their approach, it's clearly tactically pre-planned. The athletes have done some scouting. They know where the weaknesses of the Trinidadian team is, and they're really taking advantage of it. On at least 3 occasions, I've watched Luis set Adele up and really try to give him a sumagayeshi, which is a falling sacrifice throw to throw him over his head. So let's look and see what develops. Oh, again a Suyonagi. And he's tried to transition to the pin. Right, he is in the pin position. If he holds this pin for 30 seconds, he's going to win this match. So we're seeing from the Venezuelans dominance in the throwing and the ground phase, as Adele Villalba does not seem to have an answer or escape for Luis Castillo's pin.
After the work put in by the Venezuelan Castillo of technically outmaneuvering the Trinidadian, now he can both rest and put his weight on the Trinidadian, which is a significant advantage to his part.
Well, we have a new sport Sambo champion, Luis Castillo from Venezuela. And the crowd is giving him a round of applause because they know of the technical dominance, skill, and precision he applied on the mat. That was a really nice match. So what I'm looking forward to is the next match. Much stronger Sambo team, and they're moving up in the Pan-American region, and they're going to start, I think, challenging the Venezuelans very soon.
The Mexican Terrazas definitely has the opportunity to exert more and practice more his Sambo, because he also has a 5-1 professional and mixed martial arts record, which in most of his victories he's been able to use his Sambo background. So he has more practice than the usual of a regular Sambo practitioner, being that he's able to practice his Sambo both in combat Sambo competitions as well as MMA as well.
And while being Mexican, he's going to have the advantage of altitude and fitness working at sea level. We saw a really smooth exchange. The athlete from Mexico, Zaire, seems to have very clean striking and boxing as well. But Mitchell is holding his own because he has the height, and I think he also may have an advantage in terms of his ability to cover distance. Now we see the two athletes connect. Oh, a beautiful throw from the Trinidadian athlete. Mitchell did a Ogoshi or hip throw, and he now has Zaire in a pin. Let's see if his balance and his size is going to prevent Zaire from a clean escape. Though it looks like Zaire does have an angle, if he can step his leg over Anderson, he may be able to pry his shoulder out and avoid the pin.
Fighting out of Acapulco, he's able to, Zaire Terrazas from Mexico is able to maximize his cardiovascular rendition, but it's something that's just not going to be useful if you're going to be outclassed with technique, as was the case by the Trinidadian Anderson during this match.
So they continue the match. I think Zaire is going to try and avoid the throws of Anderson. Oh, he's spinning to an armbar. I think he has it in place. The athlete from Trinidad is using all his power to try and prevent the armbar from coming in. Zaire is scoring, and they've set it up to restart the match again. The athlete from Trinidad is gathering himself. I think that armbar took something out of him. Let's see how Zaire now is going to use his MMA background and his ability in striking.
With that particular armbar attempt, the Trinidadian should have rotated to his right to relieve the pressure that's being applied by Terrazas in that lock.
What Zaire has done on the last two throw attempts from Anderson Mitchell is circle to his back and prevent the Osotogari from his base position.
Which is an excellent adjustment made by Terrazas.
All right, Terrazas actually nearly took mount. And so let's see now how this is developing, because the Trinidadian athlete seems to only be going to this throw. And Terrazas has already figured out how to avoid it. And the Trinidad athlete is starting to get sloppy. All right, so Zaire did a really nice job of a sacrifice throw. And he's now in the dominant position. I think he's going to attempt to walk the Trinidadian out of bounds and have the fight stood up.
Technique is not the only source of confidence when you're faced with an athlete such as you mentioned when he's training at altitude, and you feel the other athlete in there and you feel the superiority in the cardiovascular ability. It can wear on your confidence, and that's what I believe is what we're seeing with the Trinidadian here. To follow up on your comment of the sloppy techniques and follow-ups on the attempted throws.
Zaire has then again avoided the hip throw, but this time, as we discussed earlier, he's gone to the mount. So what we saw him setting up is now working. He has a pin in place, and I'm wondering if he's gonna really attempt a choke. Oh, they're standing them back up again. And we're seeing that the athlete from Trinidad is getting up slower. He's tiring. And Zaire is really starting to put the pressure on. The referee's checking the scores. Both of the athletes have stepped out of the circle. Anderson is gassing. His mouth is open. He's bent over. He's breathing. So you're right. The athlete from Mexico's cardiovascular superiority and his tactics are starting to prove to be beneficial. And again, he swung around the throw, and again he's going to mount. And
that's an extreme source of confidence for the Mexican, to be able to see the other combatant tire, which would allow him to push forward and put it on in the closing sequences of this match.
The Zaire is starting to circle. He's maintaining distance. He's using leg kicks. And he's spinning to the back again. He reversed the throw, and he's heading towards a mount position. That was a beautiful reversal. In pinning position, and he's working for the armbar at the edge of the area, so he knows that even if it fails, he's safe and they're going to fall out of the circle.
That's a testament to Terrazas' tenacity and wanting to seek this victory. Not only does he have the cardiovascular advantage, but he also wants to neutralize the evident size difference by chopping away at the legs to slow him down even more. He already took the high ground on the cardiovascular criteria. He wants to do the same now with the size difference, and now he's putting the exclamation mark with being able to do what he's been trying to do since the beginning of the match, which has been done to him. So
that was a beautiful double leg, and now he's in a perfect pin position. He's maintaining shoulder pressure, and preventing the Trinidadian from... I actually think the Trinidadian's given up. He's not actually attempting to either exit the circle, which he can do tactically because he's at the edge, or try and attempt an escape by either grabbing the leg with his legs or pinning or escaping with a frame.
Combat sports competition is 90% psychological, and we're seeing here displayed now in this match.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a really good display. Even though Zaire lost that first initial interaction, he's come on strong. He's been tactically superior. His conditioning definitely is better. And he's just neutralizing all the attacks of the Trinidadian. Oh, we see that the Trinidadian's just bailing on the fight. He's running out of the ring. He's being warned for not defending himself and running out of the rings. He's just, I believe, quit. With 1 minute to go, due to the pressure from Zaire, the Trinidadian athlete psychologically crumbled.
Very, very impressive by the Mexican Terrazas, imposing his will, showing his tenacity, and just simply taking no for an answer from the beginning of the from the beginning of the match, which he did face some adversity, but only up until the extent of the cardiovascular rendition of the Trinidadian, which just could not pull through tonight.
What I love is that this Mexican team has grown over the last 2 years. Their technique is growing. The quality of athletes that they're developing is going. So I expect really big things in the region from Mexico. So we have a really nice fight coming up next. We have Kerwin Carabon from Trinidad against Minzy Collins from Trinidad.
All athletes, please wear your red jacket, shorts, and shoes.
Whoa. Play of that amazing Sumigaeshi, and that's the Venezuelan athlete. I believe that's Luis Cantillo from Falcon. And just watch this transition as he spins to side. And then we have another replay of the fight with Etienne Niso from St. Lucia. Beautiful Osotogari landing in the position, and then he puts on a Kizakatami pin. Well, this is also a really nice highlight of Zaire attempting a straight armbar known as Juji Gatami, as well as we get to see some of his very intelligent counters to the Trinidadians' Ogoshi, which was the major throw.
Very intelligent adjustment by Terrazas and Mr.
They've done really big things in the past, and I'm looking forward to an exciting match.
With this bout, we're going to be closing the Sambo section of this competition with our American referee Richard to be officiating the bout.
So the referees made sure the athletes are ready. This is combat sambo. So we have striking. Cohen is driving forward, and Minzy has left the ring. The referees pull them back in. Let's see if Minzy can negate the dominance Cohen Carabon has in terms of weight through skill and technique. Cohen showed some nice balance, and he prevented Minzy from getting an obvious takedown because Minzy had Cohen's leg trapped and he was going for a leg trip.
I see Minzy just a little too anxious to seek the dominant positions. That's not necessarily the most prudent game plan, as it may backfire, which it may backfire by showing your opponent that you're not completely
settled and connected to the fight
and confident that you can go all the way. You want to end it quickly. So this could be a source of confidence for the Trinidadian Carabon to take it on.
Cohen Carabon is an experienced mixed martial arts fighter. Mm-hmm. He's done a lot of submission grappling as well. So let's see what experience he brings from these other art forms and how it's going to impact his strategy. Now, Cohen and Minzy are training partners, so they know each other very well. Mm-hmm. Oh, a really nice Hanegoshi hip throw. And Minzy's circling for the armbar. He has Cohen's arm stretched out.
Looks tight.
Cohen is pulled out and is trying to get dominant position, but they're at the edge of the mat. So I really did feel that Minzy would use his strategy to throw on the sub there, knowing that if it failed, he would come out of the area and he would have scored points.
The mixed martial arts experience and the grappling experience of Kerwin Carabon that you alluded to probably explains the calmness and composure that he's exhibiting in this bout tonight.
So Minzy again, the younger athlete, is circling. And I think Cohen is going to use his weight, close the gap, get into the clinch range, and keep scoring by driving Minzy out, because Minzy is getting warned for exiting the ring. So again, the experience and the ring savvy is kind of in Carbon's favor. Good job. Again, Carbon has intelligently drove Minzy out, but he's doing it with technique and striking, so it doesn't look as if he's managing the rule set. Very smart work by Carbon.
Number 1 for MMA, get ready. Please see the doctor. All
Hands
MMA
up.
athletes.
And they're
This is the
entering
last
again. Cohen
Go to the dressing
circling.
room.
And again, Cohen throws close to the edge of the mat area. He's transitioned to a side control position. Referee signal for a pin, and he does have Minzy's back, but Minzy knows that he's near the edge of the area, and I think he's going to try and work his way out.
The initial panicking in Mitzi Collins' initial offensive campaign probably is reference to the lack of technical variety that he can employ here, which is why it looked like he tried to signal to just end the bout immediately as soon as he could with the energy he has. Carbon is definitely exhibiting not only the technical superiority but the experience, such as in combat sambo as well as other disciplines that he's participated in.
Cohen is also the heavier athlete, and it looks like Minzy is winded and his cardio is failing because of the pressure that Carbon is placing on him. But also I think what you've alluded to, that psychological dominance is starting to show, as Minzy is psychologically wilting, I believe, and indicating that the pin from Carbon is preventing him from breathing. So the referees indicated that they restart. Carbon is just sauntering up, gathering his energy, and again he's just going to walk Minzy down. And again, Carbon intelligently keeps driving Minzy out of the ring area.
Slow is smooth, smooth and fast. Carbon just, when the referee signaled to reconvene in the center, he came in nice, calm, cool, and collective, as to show that he knew exactly what he was going to do, and to suggest that there's just nothing Minzy Collins could do about it. And that's very discouraging when you're competing, especially when you have a depleted gas tank in order to continue with the bout.
So right now we're looking at Minzy. He's definitely trying to gather himself, and the referees are conferring with the judges' table. The sports psychology, visualization, and arousal control. All right, so we're going to restart the match. Both athletes have come to the center of the ring. They've cleared up the issue with the points scoreboard system, and again Cohen is driving forward gently. Minzy got a really nice kick in, but Cohen is using his strategy of driving Minzy to the edge of the ring and striking or driving forward, forcing Minzy out and allowing him to accrue more points.
Minzy also had an excellent opportunity to recover a little bit. Let's just see exactly what he is able to do with the second win that's be able to call here, and if he's able to make any adjustments to try to sway this match in his favor.
So Cohen hit Minzy with an overhand right. The referee is giving him a standing count to ensure that he's recovered his senses and that the knockdown hasn't produced risk and exposed Minzy to being hurt. Beautiful. So they've scored a knockdown, but they haven't stopped the fight. Cohen is growing in confidence, and his strategy is working to his advantage. Okay, because of the score, we have a new 90 kg champion, Cohen Carbon.
And with this bout, you conclude the Sambo portion of the night, where the Trinidadian Sambo community was able to display exactly where they.
And
We will begin the award ceremony shortly.
we just saw the first throw pin. We have a really beautiful series of highlights here, looking at some of the best techniques we've seen of the night. The Sumigaeshi sacrifice, straight to an attempt at back control. Really, really cleanly done technique. followed by this Makakomi Ippon Seoinage style throw, or overhead throw, or shoulder throw as they used to say in Sambo. We're looking at a combat Sambo fight where the athlete from St. Lucia used his ogoshi or hip throw technique to land straight into a pin. Then we have this beautiful armbar attempt, the only submission attempt for the night by the Mexican athlete, who also exhibited a unique ability to counter throws and transition to positions of dominance. Here we see him fall from a hanegoshi, a wrapped one, and still take the superior position. He then followed up with a double leg. Here we have the final fight where Minzy was working against Kerwin Carabon, and we see how Kerwin Carabon dominated the athletes in this lineup are known for MMA, and so we have a unique thing happening where we have athletes going from MMA back to amateur sport to hone their craft, develop their technique, develop their throwing ability, because we see when we look at US MMA that the feeder system of having all these wrestlers come through all these amateur leagues and developing all this experience of engaging with the athlete Gershom Griffith from Trinidad and Tobago. Really insightful to see these athletes from Venezuela, because Venezuela obviously is going through a tremendously stressful time, to see their pride, their focus, and their ability to really represent their country with honor. It has been really heartening tonight. You know, that team from Falcon definitely is doing something super special and creating athletes who can transition well from these. .52 kilo. Tyrone Charles had an excellent match against Omesh Lalchand from Guyana. It was a technical match, and the Trinidadian used his agility and his mastery of the throws to win and score really big throws. What was beautiful also is that Omesh, as an athlete, had height. This match was one of the better matches of the night for Combat Sambo. Zaire Terrazas also has a 5-1 MMA record. His cardio coming from Mexico, his ability to use his strategy to prevent the height advantage from the Trinidadian athlete from impacting the fight. His ability to counter the throws also of Anderson Mitchell was quite impressive, and we are seeing the Mexican team's growth in the region and the possible dominance they will have in the way future.
With some of the martial artists down here, you know, and looking for a good night of fights.
What have you seen so far in terms of the technical?
In a bad situation, sometimes they melt down because they're not used to being there. Saw some of the athletes in bad situations, and they kept cool under pressure and used their techniques and did reversals. So I expect to see the same thing here. And then now that I'm seeing what's going on here with this event, it's not a surprise because there's lots. It seems that there's lots of events for them to participate in.
And MMA all at the same event, interacting with each other, testing each other, and it does compress the fight pool, because what happens is if these individual events were held and the athletes didn't have the opportunity to transition between them, the fight pool would be much smaller. What I'm seeing tonight, for example, is several of the athletes have transitioned from MMA back into amateur sport to get more mat time, to get more ring time, to work out some of the bugs in their game so that they can return to MMA with more poise, more skill, and it's